Hi, welcome to OGATV. I'm Tom Jackson, President and CEO of the Ohio Grocers Association. You know, in spite of all the various mediums that we have for customers to pay for their groceries, checks is still one of those important mediums that we have to accept every day. One of the things that we hear about is this whole idea of bad checks and how can we prevent them? I get that question. Well, today it's my pleasure to introduce an expert in this area and a longtime partner of the Ohio Grocers Association. You know, Jim Carneth and Check Care has been a side-by-side partner of OGA for many years, and they've certainly done a great job for our members. So with that, it's my pleasure today to introduce to you Jim Carneth, the president of Check Care.
Thank you, Tom. It's been our pleasure to serve OGA over all these years. In this segment of OGA TV, we'll show you how to control risk and increase recoveries of checks at your store. There are actually two parts to the process when accepting checks from your customers. First, you'll need to have a prevention program when you are accepting checks. Secondly, return checks need to be recovered. In this session, we will speak primarily to prevention, managing the risk of accepting checks. Each store operation needs to have an effective check acceptance policy understood by its employees. In short, good checks in equal good checks out. Controlling risk at acceptance means easier recovery if any go bad. A check acceptance policy should be in writing, explained to all your employees, signed by all your employees to ensure understanding. A suggested check acceptance policy for both personal and payroll checks is available on the OGA website, as you can see here.
And then we'll have that. Yeah.
Employees need continual training to ensure the policies are being followed. It's very important that the policies be enforced with your employees. If someone is not following the proper procedure, they are costing you money. Compliance is a must, with resulting discipline and possible termination consequences. Check verification provides your first line of defense for managing risk when accepting checks from your customers. Several types of databases are available. Negative databases tell you when a customer has written a bad check and has not paid for it yet. A positive database basically lists good customers who you are ready to accept checks from. Let me point out, no verification system can access bank account balances. Some systems actually use MICR information from a check to create an electronic transaction to debit the customer's bank account. In many cases, the image of the check is not captured, so if the check is returned, it is usually a guessing game on who wrote the check. Verification can be done using MICR information from your customer's check or using their driver's license, or both. Rules can be set up to limit your risk on someone attempting to write or pass a lot of bad checks in just a few days. Equipment used to access verification databases can be integrated into point-of-sale systems, be a standalone check reader, or integrated into credit card terminals. Using verification reduces your bad checks by 50%. This is achieved by declining high-risk checks and deterring bad check writers. Reports available from verification can provide an audit trail of all checks received. Generally, there's a return of your investment in equipment within 2 to 3 months, depending on the volume of checks accepted. Most of your customers will accept check verification. Train your employees. The primary elements of information that make a piece of paper or a check are a current date, paid to the order of, written numerical amount written in words on the legal line, which is the same amount as number 3, and finally a signature. For personal checks, your employees should ensure that the following information is on every check as shown in the graphic example on how to organize this information on a check. Name and street address, pre-printed on the check. Ask if the information is current. A current photo ID should be shown and the ID number written on the check. Home and secondary phone numbers written on the check. Authorization code written on the check. Cashier's initials written on the check. Be sure your employees know what counterfeit checks look like. Most every operation has sufficient examples. Be sure they are aware of information on the check, such as the physical address. No one lives in post office boxes. It's amazing. There's usually a spelling error on counterfeit checks. Also, employees should be aware of local versus out-of-town bank routing numbers. Most Ohio banks have a 4 in the second position in the routing number. Customers with stolen or counterfeit checks generally will be purchasing high-value merchandise such as meats, tobacco, and liquor. These are red flags for your cashier to more carefully scrutinize the checks. And be careful. The perpetrator will make multiple shopping visits on the same day. Here are a couple of comments before we close about recovery of bad checks. Just like outsourcing the cleaning of your floors, outsourcing check collection is good business. Make sure the agency you select can provide all the services you need: verification, guarantee, and real collections. Real collections is sending letters, making telephone calls, using electronic means to collect, and using both civil and criminal options for the tough ones. Make sure your agency is bonded and licensed where required, and carries E&O insurance for your protection. At Check Care, we make sure your customers are treated with respect. We collect more with sugar than we ever could with salt. Thank you for watching this presentation on OGATV.